Every story comes with its destiny and you never know which story will click where. We have worked Bodyguard with Salman. Ajay sir ke sath to I think lot like Ganga Jal, Apaharan, Singham, Golmaal, lots of the films we have done with Ajay sir. Akshay, some of the best films we have worked. Namaste London, Sing is King, Holiday, Toilet Ek Prem Katha, Rustam, Suryavanshi, you name it. Working with Shah Rukh itself is, at least in a very limited way, we learnt a lot in marketing from him. Like there probably is no better brain in marketing than he as an individual and how he wants to market his product. Talash is also like a great experience of working with Amir. We subsequently worked with Amir even in 3 Idiots. But yes, these are all learning experiences when you work. So 45% today in US household, 45% of usage, the number one usage is streaming. Both cable and pay TV are 22% each. So cable and pay TV combined is also less than streaming. In the microdrama space today, this year, microdrama is almost a $11 billion global industry. In that $11 billion, China this year, in the China industry, the business of microdrama will cross or already has crossed the China box office number. I think the challenge is the process, very layman's way, how you keep yourself updated to what audience need. Even if you are making film, आप आज एक जो story आप curate कर रहे हो, वो 2 साल बाद आएगा screen में minimum, और it can come later. आप actually आप सोच रहे हो 2 साल बाद audience को क्या अच्छा लगेगा, that you have to think today. It's a tough, everyday tough task. There is no easy shortcut to it.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, सूत्रधार विद विनीत राय के एपिसोड में आपका स्वागत है। हर फिल्म के पीछे एक अदृश्य ताकत होती है जो कहानी को बजट, स्क्रिप्ट और सपनों से जोड़ती है। आज हम बात करेंगे ऐसे ही विजनरी की जिन्होंने सिंघम, बॉडीगार्ड से लेकर सेक्रेड गेम तक हर कहानी को सिनेमा की भाषा दी है। जी हाँ, ये हैं शिबाशीष सरकार, रिलायंस एंटरटेनमेंट के हेड, जो सिर्फ फिल्म नहीं बनाते बल्कि इंडस्ट्री के लिए दिशा तय करते हैं। तो चलिए स्वागत करते हैं शिबाशीष का। शिबाशीष जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग इन सूत्रधार। वी वर चेजिंग अ बिट। आपकी कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ में छुट्टी नहीं मिलती है या तो फिर कुछ हॉलीडे नहीं मिलते हैं, लेकिन आज आप वी रिक्वेस्टेड यू एंड यू केम हियर एंड वी विल टॉक समथिंग डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव अबाउट सिनेमा एंड कॉर्पोरेट. So that is my main thing to call you, and thank you very much again.
Thanks for calling. I mean, it's an opportunity for me to speak.
Yes.
So thanks for calling.
जी, thank you very much. So जैसे you must have seen couple of my podcast, and my format is about your life and journey with the creative aspect. जो भी चीज़ें आपने देखी हैं पीछे करीबन 20-25 सालों में इंडस्ट्री में काम करते हुए, तो सबसे पहले तो आई एम वेरी क्यूरियस टू नो कि एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट और एक स्ट्रैटेजिस्ट से क्रिएटिव बनने का जो सफ़र हुआ वो कैसे शुरू हुआ?
So honestly, I think to be honest, I never thought when I was doing my studies और जब मैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी पढ़ रहे थे, फिर born and brought up in Calcutta, middle class family, the concentration education में ही रहता है.
Right.
That point of time never there was a design or thought in the mind that कभी जिंदगी में creative industry और film industry में हम लोग कदम रखेंगे.
जी.
And not many people know my first 10 years of career was in FMCG. I started with the government sector, then I spent time in IMFL liquor industry, and almost 6-7 years I was in Godrej. And subsequently, when I moved on to creative industry, and I started with Ronnie Stroll and UTV, almost 22 years back, 2003. And when I look back, I don't even what was the trigger point of my change from coming from a large, process-driven, 100 years old Godrej group to a completely different industry. And in those days, UTV was a unlisted company, privately owned company.
जी
I think the only trigger point of me to shift that point of time was like in my FMCG and that sector, almost after working for 10 odd years, everything was process, everything was system, and you just follow it.
जी
And probably I was looking forward to something to do different. And at that age, you know, and that's why the journey of my journey started in the film industry. Having said so, even from a chartered accountant or from a finance guy, when I moved on to run the business and segment, it happened over a period, because initially also I joined as a finance guy, but it's a fascinating journey and I enjoyed, and that's why I continued. I never moved out of the sector.
जी लेकिन आप बहुत आराम से बता रहे हैं, लेकिन बंगाल की धरती में वो क्रिएटिव लोग पैदा आज से नहीं होते हैं, उनका इतिहास है सर. मतलब और वो कहीं ना कहीं unless and until you have that that creative part of story telling and understanding the story, this is my observation about.
So yes, so to be fair, like as you correctly said, like every Bong probably they grew up with Rabindranath Tagore, they grew up with poem and drama and art and culture as a part. But whether that will be a part of my profession, we never thought.
Right.
But we all loved and grew up with, I mean, even before like Satyajit Ray, like Hrithik Ghatak, Mrinal Sen, Satyajit Ray. So those era of films, and not only the art house or the content-driven film, also the commercial films and the journey of films about Uttam Kumar and Suchitra. So we all loved and grew up in that world. ये मालूम नहीं था that वो मेरा एक जिंदगी में एक टाइम में कभी आके प्रोफेशन हो जाएंगे. But we all part of reading, literature, culture is a part of the family. Most of the families are like that. I also never thought that when we shifted from a organization like a Godrej structure to a film, there were a lot of concerns in the family. I mean, my dad used to be like, he all along in his life he was in one government company, right? He was in Geological Survey of India, and he started his career, he ended his career there. उन लोग को जिंदगी में तो ये भी सोच नहीं आते थे कि तुम how can you even shift job? तुम जिधर ज्वाइन किया उधर ही काम करना चाहिए. That is a loyalty, and that's where you should grow up. Because security and safety is the main reason. And from there, making a point that you are joining a segment, आप फिल्म में जा रहे हो, तो अभी that belief itself took a lot of, that conversation took a lot of time, but
Correct.
You continued and you enjoy what you do.
Correct. You answered very well कि फैमिली को तो ये रिस्की लगता है, because
फैमिली में तो पहले तो आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ, आई मीन अर्ली 20-25 years back, and when you come from a different set of family background, आप फिल्म क्यों कर रहे हो? मतलब फिल्म is not something people understand the business, commerce and the culture of it, because normal audience और normal people के लिए हम जो पर्दा में देखते हैं वही है, right? तो it's not something which is not being looked upon as like you are taking a very exciting career opportunity, especially if you are coming from a hardcore finance background. Why film? So that question comes. But yes, I mean, I think I have only learned and grew up in my life and enjoyed every moment what I spent in this industry.
And that is what my observation कि business and creativity का संतुलन, because तभी हो सकता है when you have inclination towards that craft.
Yeah.
Because आप कितना भी बोल लीजिए, लेकिन
No.
by the end of it is a business.
Yeah.
It's a proper business, but how do you do it with entertainment? That is the whole concept.
See, my limited life and limited career and working across 5-6 sector of business, I figured out that in media and entertainment is the only sector, and out of which even film is more relevant,
Right.
where you need that balance. आपका वो balance बहुत सारा segment में, whether you go to pharma, whether you go to manufacturing industry, whether you go to FMCG, whether you go to financial service sector, you go to banking, many other sector where you probably need some strengths and some limitations as a balance. But media ऐसा एक industry है और film industry ऐसा एक जगह है जिधर आपको ये balance का बहुत importance है. You can't run your business only as a creative driven organization. At the same time, you can't run your business only as a commercial and transaction organization.
Correct.
वही लोग सक्सेसफुल होता है जो कोशिश करता है, because majority of the times we don't see that success, जो कोशिश करता है how to keep that balance. बिकॉज एक जो क्रिएटर जो कहानी बोलना चाहता है एंड who is the creative brain behind telling a story. He may be a director, he may be a writer, he may be a talent. And उसका जो passion है वो जितना important है, similarly to put that passion into an art form and work, and how that art form and work can get monetized so that passion he can continue for his next film and next show or next work is extremely important.
Correct.
So at the same time, there are organizations or there are thoughts that we are buying a product and selling and is a transaction driven. आप वो जर्नी में भी कभी भी सक्सेसफुल होना पॉसिबल नहीं है
जी,
बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली यू आर सेलिंग अ ड्रीम,
जी,
अल्टीमेटली यू आर सेलिंग अ क्रिएटिव एंड इट्स एन इंटेंजिबल प्रॉपर्टी यू आर सेलिंग, राइट.
जी.
वो एक आदमी का सोच है दैट हमको एक कहानी बोलना चाहिए, हमको एक कहानी पर्दे में दिखना चाहिए.
जी,
जब तक the business side of the organization respect that thought, they will not be able to do a justice to that thought.
right.
That's why the mix or the balance of the two is extremely important, as we see, you see in your life or I see in our life day to day.
Gee, as a layman, because there are a lot of people in my, they watch my podcast and they need to understand that how this entire corporate structure works, because it's like a dilemma position right now that सबसे बड़ा विलेन आज की डेट में जो बना दिया गया है वो कॉर्पोरेट जहाँ पे भी कॉर्पोरेट का नाम आता है ना, मतलब एंड ऑफ द स्टोरी, बिकॉज वहाँ लगता है कि यहाँ स्टोरी खत्म है, अब इसके बाद कुछ नहीं है, अब आप इंडिविजुअल प्रोड्यूसर हुआ करते थे, ऐसा हुआ करता था. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल टॉक अबाउट इट, एंड बिकॉज दैट्स व्हाई मेरी ये जो डिस्कशन भी है ना, ये भी उसी के लिए है, बिकॉज रिलायंस एंटरटेनमेंट, अगर आप रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज ओवरऑल देखें, एक जो अनिल अंबानी जी का जो रिलायंस एंटरटेनमेंट और उनके बाकी के वेंचर्स ने पिछले 10-12 सालों में बहुत ही नीचे आए हैं, बट उसमें रिलायंस एंटरटेनमेंट में पास्ट ऑलमोस्ट 20 इयर्स से होना, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, क्या वो मैनेजेबल था, फेवरेबल था, या फिर प्रॉफिट मेकिंग था, वो मुझे ज़रा बताएं कि रिलायंस एंटरटेनमेंट का कोर कॉम्पिटेंस है क्या.
I think you probably asked a couple of questions at the same time. So I'll probably address the first question first and then come to the Reliance part. See, एक चीज ना, I talk in many a time whenever there is an opportunity to talk, I speak about it, that our industry, and especially I'm talking of the film industry, is almost 110, 115 years, 120 years old industry in India, right? If you look back that entire graph of 100 to 120 years of graph, this industry is running with private passion, private capital, private institutions' money. Whether you go back to the era of Himanshu Rai, or you either go back to the 70s, or you go back to the even 2000s of any, it is purely running with the passion and interest of private individuals. Now, in this journey, so we have not seen much of the institutional capital. इसका एक सिनेरियो मैं आपको बताता हूँ, that when I look at any developed market of the film space, look at North America, look at Western European countries, look at Southeast Asia, look at Korea, every single market, when I did do the research, and this is something on a guild perspective, every time when we go and do advocacy with the ministries and the governments, we say, make this point. Every market, if you look at, the film sector and the industry is driving on, large segment is driving on institutional capital. Take a banks like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, BNP Paribas, Barclays, SocGen, Coutts, you name a bank, आप वो बैंक का अंदर में आप जाके पूछो that what is your film business product or desk, 50 years, 75 years, 100 years, there's a film desk. There's a film product. India में नहीं है.
Zero.
Right? Is our failure also, because as an industry probably we have not been able to create this asset class.
Correct.
And it is an apathy of the overall ecosystem, including the governments and including the society, that they have never responded or respected this asset class.
Absolutely.
तो ये सिचुएशन जो अब लास्ट 100 साल से चल रहा है, एंड जहाँ से मैं चालू किया था, दैट ये प्राइवेट पैशन और प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन से जो बिजनेस चल रहा था individual investment, individual passion में जो business चल रहा था, from early, probably late 90s, mid 90s onwards, we started seeing corporates or organizations started getting into this space. Okay, good old days. There was an era of when all the names which you were saying, whether it's a new TV, whether it is Raghav Bailey Network 18, whether ABCL in the first avatar, whether it's a Plus channel. In the next leg, we saw the most of the global companies like Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, Fox, Indian corporates like Reliance Entertainment, Eros, Balaji. A lot of corporates organizations have came into the space. Last 10 years, last 8, 9 years, 10 years, the large platforms like from a Netflix, Amazon to Disney, everybody has come into the space. Now, when the organizations or the corporate structures have came into the space, there are two things have happened. A lot of things which has happened for the positive, and not a lot of things which has not probably so much positive for the entire space. Correct? So while there has been availability of the capital, more monies have flown into the industry and etc., and that has allowed the industry to grow, but also because every corporate or every structures have brought into their SOP system process, approval stage, multiple stage of decision making and etc., probably the distance between an individual creator and to reach the consumer, the layers have increased. And that's why I probably have started the question that a large fragment of independent maker, independent director, independent creator, independent producer, for them probably it was earlier easier to reach one independent producer and जाके मेरा कहानी उसको बताऊं, उसका सामने अभी बहुत सारा दरवाजा आ गया, गेट कीपिंग हो गया, प्रोसेस हो गया, स्ट्रक्चर हो गया, सिस्टम हो गया, and many people get lost in that. Many good stories get lost. Forget about the people. Many good stories probably doesn't find ultimately a consumer. If I compare the time, say 30, 40 years back when business is to be driven by independent producer. When you're an independent producer, you somehow reach the independent producer and you go and tell your stories, and if it finds a journey, it will find a journey. Correct. Vis-a-vis when you are reaching across the corporate, you are meeting a layers of people before you even reach the decision making process. So the pluses what has happened with corporatization is that it brought a lot of discipline, management of the business, monetization has grown up, has happened, has increased from the earlier period, system driven process, budgeting, exercise, lot of green lighting process has become evolved, but it is a question we should ask ourselves that in that conglomerate, are many stories getting lost or not finding up to the right door? Right. So the only way to address that scenario will be one should never lose hope, because you have knocked 10th door, if that is not opened up, knock the 11th door, right? I mean, there is no other way out in the situation.
That's the process.
There's a process, and every story comes with its destiny, and you never know which story will click where. Sometimes even हम लोग भी एक story लेके 5-5, 7-7, 10-10 साल, ultimately that story finds the journey. I mean, to give an, like, you probably familiar with the film 83, which got released in 2020, after the lockdown in the 21 December. 2013 में उसका जर्नी चालू हुआ था, and not many people know that 2013 में one of the producer Vishnu, he connected Kapils and the entire all the players. That's why the journey चालू हुआ. We came in between sometime around 2015-16. We continued for another 5-6 years. Then the film got made. Film got about to release, then lockdown happened. Again 2 साल हम लोग पूरा film लेके बैठ गया, and ultimately it released. And it is probably one of the film in my entire career I'll be extremely proud of. But जिस दिन फिल्म रिलीज किया उसका 2 दिन बाद ओमनिक्रॉन चालू हो गया, द थर्ड वर्जन पार्ट ऑफ द कोविड, अगेन लॉकडाउन. इट स्टिल डिड इन दोज डेज 100-120 crore business, but probably could not do what it should have done. Right. So coming back to the situation, 8-9 years that story to the film it took a journey, and 83 का कहानी 2013 2013 to 21. So you never know which
एक वर्ल्ड कप इंडिया और जीत जाती,
और जीत गया. 2011 में we won our World Cup. So that's the way I look at it, probably the pluses and the minuses of the corporatization in the situation, and at the same point of time, how people needs to also adapt, and with these new challenges, how they have to find their stories to go. Your second part of the story is the situation that how Reliance Entertainment in this ecosystem, what we have been working and how we have been holding fort and etc. I think the best part of, I mean, like when I told you that for me is almost now 18 years, 19 years in this ecosystem. I was the second employee of the company and started from a CFO of one division, then become a group CFO, then become a group CEO and etc. I think I am blessed to have a fantastic set of colleagues who work with me, and we are a great team of people I have, and we all every day morning wake up and we self-motivate ourselves and do what we need to do. We have the plus point of this group is that we have a significant hands-off approach from the promoters. They gave you the complete freedom. How you run your business, in what manner you run your business, and how you conduct yourself. They have some broad guidelines that certain kind of stories, like you don't go into a space of vulgar, you don't go into space of overarching political space and etc. But otherwise, don't do anything which dilutes my brand. Otherwise, a complete hands-off approach. And that freedom comes with a lot of responsibility.
Correct.
Because the buck stops with us. The buck does not goes beyond us. And the team work on it, and I think I am probably, I mean, at the same time, I am also blessed because I have a opportunity of working with a great set of talents and directors and partners and associates, and it's ultimately a collaborative journey. So you take people with you and people take care of you. That's the way the constant.
Absolutely correct. But core competence के अंदर एक और चीज़ आती है जो as Reliance Entertainment you have done commercial, art film and regional films. There's a very good amalgam of these set of film process.
Right.
Commercial अलग है, एक art form एक अलग genre है, and उसको किस तरीके से you balanced it out. That is, I'm a very मैंने बहुत स्टडी की है आपकी पूरी टीम और आपके बारे में, तो मुझे ये है कि भाई आप किस तरीके से बैलेंस कैसे करते हैं as a corporate group, because by the end of it everything is about not money. Right. Everything is not about, it's about reputation also.
Correct.
So किस तरीके से how you balance these things है?
So I think the way we look at that prism of situation is that what is the story exciting us to tell, right? It's a layman's, I start from there. And in that exercise, as you correctly said, we kept it clear that we don't want to be known only as a certain genre or certain style of products creator, right? Good old days, like in this 20 years journey, there are mass, commercial, large scale tentpole films we have been journey with. And at the same point of time, content driven, national award winning, heartwarming stories we have taken the journey. If I look at each of the segments separately, I think not many people will know that probably in the last 20 years between production and distribution, we must have done 400, 450 odd films, and out of which production will be at least 100 plus, balance will be probably distribution. We have done at least 25 to 30 regional films. Ritudas, some of the in his last days, we have done a couple of films which has gone a national award. Shop Charitro Kalpunik, our first, Reliance banner's first film was a Bengali film. Rituda was the director, Shop Charitro Kalpunik, Bipasha was playing the lead. Then Abohoman, the second film, that also went a national award. Buddhadev Dasgupta's Janala also gone a national award. We have done films in Malayalam, we have done films in Marathi, we have done films in Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, we have worked with Mani Ratnam sir. So, worked in many languages over a period of time, and also Hindi and also English, and apart from the many languages, right. Marathi, many of the languages we have worked with. So, those passions are to tell a great story. Even when we worked in regional, it is not necessary कि हम लोग खाली content driven film किया. हम बंगाली में भी जाके जीत देव pure play commercial heroes, like your Hindi industries, like if somebody says मैं सलमान और शाहरुख के साथ काम किया, similarly बंगाली इंडस्ट्री में जाके भी प्रोसेनजीत दा, जीत देव, सबका साथ हम लोग कॉमर्शियल फिल्म भी बनाया था, आर्ट हाउस फिल्म भी बनाए, नेशनल अवार्ड भी मिला, कॉमर्शियल रिवॉर्ड भी मिला, and lot of films have failed also. It is not that we have only one award and reward.
रेशियो
That's
तो
the part
ऐसा
of
नहीं
the
है
journey.
हाँ करेक्ट
Similarly, when you go on in Tamil, we have done with Mani sir, Ravan, if you remember.
Yeah.
We have done a fantastic film in bilingual called Yavaram Nalam, and in Hindi, and it was called 13B. It was a horror space. We have done the first, actually, that's another story, but the first Singham was actually a Tamil film, and that was done by us in Tamil. In Telugu, we have worked with Pavan Kalyan, Attarinki Daridi. We have worked with Junior NTR. We have worked with Ram Charan. So pure play commercial artists also we have worked. Similarly, pure play regional films also have worked in that space.
Right.
When I look at a Hindi, even at a Hindi space, if I look at the body of work of Reliance, and I can talk with each actor, like if I look at, say, we worked Dawn 2 with Shah Rukh, we have worked Bodyguard with Salman, Ajay Sarkar sir, I think lot like Ganga Jal, Apaharan, Singham, Golmaal, lots of the films we have done with Ajay sir. Akshay, some of the best films we have worked, Namaste London, Sing is King, Holiday, Toiletic Prem Katha, Rustam, Surya Vamshi, you name it. So,
Correct.
So when you do a big big tentpole commercial film, there is a certain prism and certain work or maths you work with. But I am equally excited when one of my films is crafted and worked with the equal amount of passion and it goes on to win a national award. Like last year, this is 24, we did a film with Imtiaz, Chamkila. Right? In my entire career, probably after 3D is another film which we distributed. Binodji's film, and we distributed the film and we came as a global partner in that film.
Right.
Probably after 3 Idiot, I can't remember another film in my entire career across all the companies where I've worked has gone so many awards or so much of love and appreciation. And as we speak, Chamkila has got now a nomination of International Emmy as a best film as well as the best lead actor. I think third week of November, we know we are all going and see what happened. So yes, I think me or my team remain equally excited when a film or a story we say with a lot of passion or we support a creator to tell that story and that goes and get a lot of awards. At the same time, we also are equally excited when we do a Singham or Surya Vamshi or Simmba and it gets hundreds and hundreds of crores of box office, so that many audiences footfall comes. So the excitement is equal and similar. So prisms are in the same way we look at story. We don't necessarily bucket ourselves into one particular kind of a storytelling.
Correct. But my question is that all the people you're talking about, whether you're talking about the regional cinema in Bengal and artistic cinema in Bengal, or you're talking about the Singham and then bringing Singham as the IP and creating Singham as trilogy and that kind of stuff. But it is very difficult because I myself think like a filmmaker. Then filmmakers are not bounded with they are very scared with the corporate collaboration. My first question that what was the modus operandi, किस तरीके का आपका approach रहा इन सारे बड़े फिल्म मेकर्स के साथ काम करने का? You name Chamkila, you name Rohit Shetty, Imtiaz. So what is the model of collaboration you created with these people?
So our first part of the journey, as Reliance ka first part of the journey, say from 2007 to 2014 odd, that time largely we entered the market like any other corporate companies or any other studios, where the objective of the structure was very clear that as a corporate, you basically tie up with an independent producer का साथ आप relationship, you contract a painter करो and by which you become a co-producer or an acquisition of right, and you fund time to time and ultimately he makes the film and he give it to you. Then you go into the market and market and distribute करो. If it has a profit, great, you share. If it has a loss, it is in your book. Which is like across globally or across India, most of the corporate structures work in that fashion. एक हम लोग का basic philosophy था, which I also started by saying that this industry requires that balance. In our journey, we always thought and believed that we have it should be the maker first, and you should be in the back, right?
Correct.
The maker has to lead the process because it's ultimately a creative process, and you be the guideline in the structure. But post 2014, sometime around 2015, we created quite an interesting journey, and actually the journey has its own reasons to have that journey. It's not very thought through. Through which what we did is that instead of investing in film or investing at one film at a time or a couple of films at a time, we started investing in a director's company.
Okay.
So instead of investing at a film of a director,
Ji.
we invested at a company level, organization level, and we created a number of structures or number of companies through those partnerships. और उसका reason क्या था? And I always start that reason with me or giving example of me like an individual. Like today, if I am running Reliance Entertainment as a business head, my background is a chartered accountant, and if I look at most of the studios or most of the corporate companies, whether in India or globally, you will find the best management graduate, best engineers, the CFOs, the best financial whiz kids. They are ultimately running the business.
Right.
Why? Because they understand the business very well. The management of the business part they understand well. But these guys or these people are not the most creatively successful, evolved individuals.
Right.
While we all learn the process, because if my business is doing film, then I have to learn, but I'll never have the acumen of that creativity like a successful creative person.
Correct.
So इसमें हम लोग को सोच क्या था that if I know for sure that my strength is in a particular place, what is the way I can get the best creative, successful people's inputs in my organization? That was the original thought.
Correct.
तो उसका जो normal route होता है most of the structure में normal route क्या होता है that you hire your creative people, right? You have your creative team, you hire your creative people. But you will also believe that creators globally, any creator, they want a certain freedom or structure in their working life.
Right.
So long as that creator is not becoming an A-lister, he will work in an organization. The moment he becomes and thinks that he wants to do his own direction or he wants to get into that, once he grow up in life, he will form his own company. कोई creator को आप salaried employment structure में after a point when he reach his skill set you cannot keep.
Correct.
So all corporates across the globe are probably strong in the business, but working with a set of creators who are not necessarily the A-listers in that space.
Correct.
So the only way to crack this that if you can get that creator as your partner and partner in true sense, there is no other way. So what we did, and it is again I'm saying it is not thought through, but 10 years down the line, 2014 to now 25, it has worked very well for a company, for us. We went to the most marquee film directors and created a true 50-50 partnership with them.
Oh, not bad.
Right. So when you speak with about a Rohit or Imtiaz, or in South we have a partner for Why Not Studio or Ribhu and etc. These relationships are 50-50. It's not even 50.01 and 49.99. It's equal partnerships, equal risk and rewards. They take the lead in where their skill set, which is creativity, execution, production, and final creating the product. We take the lead in what is our skill set, which is selling, marketing, fundraising, management of the business, but complete equal risk and equal reward. So if there is an IP gets created, it is housed in that company.
Has to be equal.
It's to be equal.
Yes.
If a monetization happens, that monetization happens from that company. It doesn't happen from Reliance. So if a film gets sold to when a theatrical or digital anything gets sold, it's sold from. So there's absolute transparency and equal ownership and equal risk and responsibility. And it worked wonder for us. And it also worked wonder for them, wonder for us, because today as Reliance, I need not have to depend upon my own creative skill set or my team's creative skill set to take a creative decision. I have a X number of partners who are taking those decisions on behalf of me. They are taking for them.
Correct.
And we, by being a partner, we are taking that benefit.
Right.
And what has happened that each of those companies has become like a boutique studio themselves, because it is not only his direction, many other directors are working with them. So my only learning in life is that you can't do everything yourself. You should collaborate. You understand your strength, और आपका strength का ऊपर आप काम करो and get the best partners who can complement you and keep your mind transparent, and they will be in your good days and bad days and continue in that fashion.
Yeah, because the films like Dawn, I mean, Dawn was again a remake of a Dawn. Then the Dawn 2, produced by and it's again a collaborative structure with.
So that was so that was basically an Excel Entertainment. I remember that we did that time 4-5 films with Excel. आपको याद होगा Rock On, Luck by Chance, which was like Zoya's
Yes.
film. It looks like a cult film now. Then Talash with
Talash.
Amir Khan, and then Dawn 2. So these are the 4 films. Yes, these are the 4 films we did with Excel, and yes, Excel took the lead in the production and etc. And we did the distribution and the marketing. But it was a great journey. I mean, working with Shah Rukh itself is, at least in a very limited way, we learned a lot in marketing from him. Like, there probably is no better brain in marketing than he as an individual and how he wants to market his product. Talash is also like a great experience of working with Amir. We subsequently worked with Amir even in 3 Idiot and products. But yes, these are all learning experiences when you work with the situation. Same year, I think we did Bodyguard. Bodyguard, Atul, it was at Atul's production, Atul Agnihotri, and a great partner to work with. And Bodyguard also did wonderful business in those days. I mean, we are all like both from box office and everything. It did a fantastic business in those days. So yes, sometimes you work in varied manner, varied people, and you always learn something in those journeys.
No, 100%. The kind of things you have done in Double Dhamal, Simmba,
Right.
all these biggies, and you very smartly it has been progressed in that segment. But post that something happened which is unavoidable situation for every human being of the entire world. This was pandemic, and pandemic ke baad, you guys are the movers, the first movers for OTT production. The first one was Sacred Game, obviously. Then उसके बाद तो खैर बहुत सारे OTT आए. So OTT का scenario, what was the different scenario? क्योंकि corporate to filmmaker was quite evident. कि यार एक आदमी creator है और मैं corporate हूँ, मैं उसको forefront रख रहा हूँ. लेकिन अब इस creator और corporate to corporate एक और जंग है.
So actually our OTT content journey started before COVID and lockdown. We started working 2016 onwards. The first one, the Netflix's first show in India, Sacred Games, was our show. Then we subsequently did Sacred Games 2. Then we tied up with Amazon. We did Jubilee with Amazon. We did Indian Police Force with Amazon. With Disney, we did Sultan of Delhi. Milan did that show. Masoom, Boman Irani was playing that role in that. We did with even Z5. So almost all platforms, and much before these global platforms came, I remember one of our first show was Bose Dead or Alive, Rajkumar Rao. That was with Alt Balaji.
Right.
Then, yes, so I think our journey for telling stories on another format, we have been working probably quite ahead of time. Also, these partnerships or the relationships, what we talked about, the different creators, it helped in the initial days, because when most of the platforms came to India for the first time, we are probably one company where we have a multiple creator. It is not one director, one company, one lead company. So we have people from romance to action to story. Every kind of a storyteller is a part of this house, right? And in that journey, probably it was an opportunity to like a little bit of opportunity to move ahead of the others in terms of telling stories. But at the same time, everything boils down to like, is your story cutting the scenario or not? As I was mentioning you, in this OTT space, the way we work currently is that we work in-house, we work with our JV partners, as well as we work with outside creators. Because it is an organization and it's not like, because it's a large company, so at any point of time, there will be at least 40 to 50 subjects which will be in development at various stages of development. When I say development, at the writing development.
Correct.
So I will have at any point of time at least 40 to 50 Bibles, and I will have probably, my company will have at least another 25 to 30 idea.
Okay.
Right. So these 40 or 50 Bibles which are developed up to a Bible will be into the market. At some frequency, we will be reaching across to the different platforms and pitching the subjects and etc. And a good conversion rate in today's market is anything between 10 to 20% is a good conversion rate. So we end up doing 4 to 5 shows a year.
Correct.
But to do 4 to 5 shows, I should have 40 to 50 subjects created, because 90% will get rejected, and it also is a matter of time and programming. So what may get rejected or not picked up now, it may get picked up next year. So no story, you never know which story's destiny is what.
Demand and supply.
It's a demand and supply, the requirement of that point of time, that platform's programming point of time. So that, when you say corporate to corporate, so that element of pitching and that journey is by and large taken by us. But of course, it is a creators driven journey. So of course, when those discussions boil down to the creative pitching part of the situation, the creators come into the process. But it takes time in for telling stories, for ultimately from a story inception to telling it on the screen. It takes time, but that's a space we are quite excited and engage ourselves with.
Yeah, that is a patience game. You have to have,
Yes,
whether
yes.
it is corporate or individual.
It's a completely democratic market, and you are all in the same place.
Right.
And you never know what will be picked up. And of course, there will be a lot of, every meeting you sit, there will be a lot of data and analysis and driven that what is programming now. But you never know 1 quarter down the line when you meet that how is the audience's taste or everything shifts.
100%.
So that's the way you have to work in
And
that way.
we are in the age where audience have segregated into OTT, short videos,
Yeah.
gaming. Now how difficult you see for content, producers to, which is the biggest challenge for them now, because everything is segregated nowadays.
Actually, I think I won't say a challenge, but I think as a producer, we have to be extremely on the ball in terms of what is happening in the market.
Right.
And when I mean what is happening in the market, I am talking from a consumer point of view.
Correct.
Like few things which we have been chatting around.
Yeah.
This year, I saw the September 25 report. AC Nielsen has given a report where it is saying that in US, the overall television usage of audience, in that overall television usage, now 45% is happening as streaming. That means, जो घर पे जो टेलीविजन है, जो बाय एंड लार्ज पीपल्स माइंडसेट दैट मैं उसमें पे टीवी देख रहा हूँ, क्या मैं केबल देख रहा हूँ, बट टुडे बिकॉज ऑफ द कनेक्टेड टीवी एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट, 45% of the audience or usage is happening streaming. That means my television में मैं मेरा OTT का content देख रहा हूँ.
Correct.
And OTT also I am using loosely, actually digital content देख रहा हूँ, because I'll tell the next part of it. So 45% today in US household, 45% of usage, the number one usage is streaming. Both cable and pay TV are 22% each.
Acha.
So cable and pay TV combined is also less than streaming, right? The second point is more surprise. In that 45%, the company which is in the lead position is not the Netflix, Amazons of the world, it is YouTube.
Yeah. Biggest aggregator, yeah.
The maximum consumption of content which people are consuming on a television in US as of the September 25 report, YouTube is constituting almost 12% of the usage. And Prime Video, I think Prime Video is around 4%, Netflix around, so both Prime Video and Netflix are at quite a distance in compared to the number one user. So what is it trying to show? It is trying to show that today audience, so even in the content creation, there are the traditional content and the UGC content and the digital content of the world. Today audiences can be engaged, or audiences are getting engaged with a kind of content which is not films, long format and etc. of the world. So of course when it is streaming, it has the long format and UGC content which is taking the pole position.
Correct.
Right. So when look back, let's take the situation now at our end. As a producer, if suppose I am a film producer working for a film for quite some time, or a television producer, or a OTT content producer, but the audience is shifting to a different kind of content, I think that is the biggest challenge, that how quickly I keep that information or understanding at a track, and how quickly I can adapt myself. Because ultimately, if I am a content creator, I am telling a story. Whether I am telling the story in a television, in a mobile phone, 70 screen, but I have to keep myself adapt and take those learning and how to move forward. There is another instance which I will tell you. You must be familiar with this whole concept of microdrama or the vertical drama, right?
Yeah.
In the last 4 to 5 years, it has created a huge amount of curiosity and excitement globally. In the microdrama space, this year, in the year 25, it was by and large, it originally started as a China. China took the lead position, and then we found in North America, US, and everywhere. In the microdrama space today, this year, microdrama is almost a $11 billion global industry. In that $11 billion, China this year, in the China industry, the business of microdrama will cross, or already has crossed, the China box office number. So China film business, theatrical business, the box office business, which is decades and 50 years or 100 years old of journey, and whatever was that industry sitting, here come in last 5 years, microdrama has crossed the theatrical box office business of the China industry. Right? As we speak in this month, or in the latest report, it shows even in the non-China market, that means global outside China market, the growth of microdrama is at the rate of twice what has happened last year.
What?
Now, what are we saying? We are saying stories, 2-minute stories, 1.5 minute to 2 minute stories is almost coming like a reel, and we are making 50 episodes to 60 episodes and 60 minutes of content. You are seeing like this. You and me probably 5 years back can't even digest that what is the storytelling and why it will engage the audience.
Correct.
But if the audience is moving that way, as a creator, I have to think that if audience is engaged in that way, what is the story I can tell and how I can adapt myself.
Correct.
Right? I think so the biggest challenges, when you say that what are the challenges in the process, I think the challenges in the process, very layman's way, how you keep yourself updated to what audience need. Even if you are making film, आप आज एक जो story आप curate कर रहे हो, वो 2 साल बाद आएगा screen में minimum, और it can come later.
Correct.
आप actually आप सोच रहे हो 2 साल बाद audience को क्या अच्छा लगेगा, that you have to think today. It's a tough everyday tough task. There is no easy shortcut to it, and just keep on with it and see how does it work.
I mean, this is the fight. No, this is my personal This is the fight between algorithm and art.
True.
You know, the art is backward जाता जा रहा है, because going forward की जगह, because art, आज का art जो है वो futuristic art में ना वो कहीं algorithm की लड़ाई में फंसा जा रहा है कि 2 साल बाद क्या होने वाला है. You know, that is very unfortunate at times, because we don't have much opportunities for creators.
I probably will have a slightly different view on that, and we can limited knowledge, limited experience. But देखिए, हम पूरा जो हम लोग देखिए that last 20 साल, 50 साल, 100 साल का Indian film industry, and I'm taking India as an example. This is globally the same thing. With every technology disruption, जब भी टेक्नोलॉजी का कुछ चेंज होता है, कुछ ना कुछ क्राइसिस आता है, कुछ ना कुछ प्लस पॉइंट होता है.
बिल्कुल.
हम लोग लास्ट 30-40 साल में हम लोग देखा है दैट पहले एक टाइम में फॉर्मेट्स लाइक VHS used to be popular, then DVDs, then VCDs, then that completely went off, and then private satellite channel, the Z and the Star of the World. Everybody said अभी satellite में फिल्म देखेगा तो बॉक्स ऑफिस बंद हो गया, नहीं हुआ. फिर हम लोग चालू हुआ OTT, अभी OTT में फिल्म आएगा तो बॉक्स ऑफिस बंद हो जाएगा, नहीं हुआ. Technology shifting, even in the making it has happened, VFX and CGs, and they have all enhanced the storytelling. But one thing is true, that आपका स्टोरी ऑडियंस को एंगेज नहीं रखता है, आप कुछ भी कर लो, वो काम नहीं करने वाला है. एंड दैट कम्स फ्रॉम द गट. अल्टीमेटली वी ऑल शुड वर्क विद डेटा, वी ऑल शुड वर्क विद एल्गोरिथम, वी शुड सेलिब्रेट एंड एक्सेप्ट द डेटा टू मेक द स्टोरी फ्लो बेटर, मेक द स्क्रीन प्ले बेटर. बट इट्स, हम लोग फिल्म में बोलते हैं ना, हु हैज द फाइनल कट ऑथोरिटी. सिमिलरली स्टोरी टेलिंग का अल्टीमेटली बॉइल डाउन टू द gut call of that maker. There will be a stage where the producer have to take a gut call after taking all arithmetics, all algorithm, all data. वो लास्ट 100 साल में चेंज नहीं हुआ. मीडियम चेंज होगा, फॉर्मेट चेंज हुआ, टेक्नोलॉजी चेंज हुआ, स्टोरी टेलिंग एनहांस हुआ, एक्सपीरियंस एनहांस हुआ, डॉल्बी, एवरीथिंग हैज कम व्हिच हैज इंक्रीज द एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ऑडियंस. इट हैज मेड माई लाइफ ईजी. आज मैं घर में बैठ के मैं फिल्म देख रहा हूँ, शो देख रहा हूँ with changing of a, so it has improved my quality of experience, it has improved my life.
Right.
But after improving everything, if the story does not hold for 30 seconds, you are moving away. That is the creativity. So that magic remains with the creator, that we can't take away. So only situation is that how good one can have a mix of the both. You celebrate and accept the technology and the data and algorithm that probably help the maker to think, but ultimately it is the creative call and ultimately it's the gut call of the creator.
Correct.
That what finally is bringing out.
And you are right in a way, क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे तो जितने भी क्रिएटिव आर्ट फॉर्म्स हैं, इंक्लूडिंग सिंगिंग, राइटिंग, पेंटिंग, सारे परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स में मेरे ख्याल से फिल्म मेकिंग इज द यंगेस्ट आर्ट फॉर्म.
True.
एंड वो जो यंगेस्ट आर्ट फॉर्म है, इट इज जस्ट 120 ईयर ओल्ड.
Yeah.
एंड ये इवॉल्वमेंट इसमें होता रहेगा, मतलब और ज़्यादा फास्ट पेस में होगा.
True.
उसी में टेक्नोलॉजी चेंजेस और ये सारी चीज़ें उसका पार्ट है. उसका एक बहुत बड़ा थ्रेट है, या आई डोंट नो वेदर इट इज रियलिटी, दैट AI जनरेटेड विजुअल्स नाउ फिल्म मेकर के लिए शायद किसी भी कंटेंट क्रिएटर के लिए एक थ्रेट की तरीके से आया. हालांकि मैं बोलूँ तो एनिमेशन और एनिमेटर के लिए तो थ्रेट हो ही चुका है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू जस्ट गिव द राइट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. सो हाउ आपके हिसाब से as a avid understanding the cinema and the finance and everything, what do you think कि AI कितना हार्म कर सकता है आने वाले टाइम में कंटेंट क्रिएशन?
So this whole thing can be, there are 2 or 3 buckets one can answer. The first thing is that AI, and if I look at that, what are the immediate some of the issues which are affecting, is that the most important part is that it has affected a lot of jobs. No two ways about it.
Correct.
And it has already started happening. I can give you the low hanging example, like dubbing, right? So whether in my organization or many other organization, now dubbing can be done completely in the system, right? I don't probably need any voiceover artist,
right?
Etc. And you can even go to the extent that मेरे को विनीत जी का वॉइस चाहिए, विनीत जी का 60% वॉइस चाहिए, विनीत जी का 70% वॉइस चाहिए, विनीत जी का वॉइस का completely different चाहिए. I can play around that, right? To that level. And I'll give you an example. Like there's a film which was done 2 years back it released, or 1 year back it released. There's a film called Lal Salam. It's a Tamil film. Rajni sir was there. In that film there was one song which was used, and the song was sung by a dead person. By an artist who was dead, but Mr. Rahman took the rightfully from the wife, made the payment consideration, used few seconds of any of his old song, and a completely new lyrics and new song got sung through that voice, right? Now when I look at that example, that is a wonder at one way. There's a lot of positive sides of the situation.
Yeah.
At the same side, so now to break it up, that is it affecting jobs? It is affecting a certain level of job.
Right.
We can't go away from there, whether it is animation. Every activity, not only animation, I think. Right now, I'll give an example. I mean, I'm already using a tool where you give me a 120 page of script. I am uploading the script on the platform in a couple of minutes time. And in another couple of minutes time, it is giving me probably in 5 or 6 pages a synopsis, the character sketches, the strengths and weaknesses,
Bible.
Which all films it is similar with, which all films is not similar with, which all artists I should take, and also a recommendation it should be taken, not taken. Now this I used to do with a team who will read the script and give their inputs. Now it is happening in 3 to 4 minutes time, and many other people are using it.
Right.
आपका पास एक बुक है, आप एक बुक दे दो, उसको कन्वर्ट करके एपिसोड ब्रेक डाउन करके आपको स्क्रीन पे तो करके. So now this things which are happening in system. What is worrisome in the situation is that the regulation worldwide is in a very loose form, because the regulations are still coming. Because when you see the negative impact of it, like the whole thing we're seeing like a deep fake or using some faces, and you're seeing a lot of actors are taking some court ruling in terms of my personality rights should not get compromised, and etc. of the situation. So the regulations worldwide, not necessarily in India, but worldwide, the regulations are still in the process that what is the boundary line that what one can do and what cannot do.
Correct.
I personally feel, and this is my individual belief, is that when a technology shift happens, you cannot be opposing it, because even if you oppose, it will still happen. You like it or dislike it, you still happen.
Correct.
So one has to move that how I can take the benefit out of it and how I can safeguard the things which can affect people's life in an illegal or in an unethical manner, more than illegal and unethical manner.
Correct.
That regulation boundary lines has to get set. In the short to medium term, there will be job losses, but at the same point of time, there will be significant requirement of people who will be knowing the coding or the prompting, or who will be conversant with how I can use AI and can get an output, right? So that level of quality of requirement also will be coming at the same time. So let's assume that if somebody is a filmmaker or a writer, and a writer has been able to take the benefit of AI to enhance the script, and he learns that part of the technology and he enhances, that definitely will be the people who will be more required than a straightforward normal writer in the situation,
Right.
because he will be few notches ahead of that scenario.
Right.
So there will be pluses. The minus side of it, that short to medium term, there will be significant amount of job loss, not smaller amount. There are reports which are, and I'm not only talking film industry, but globally across many industries, it is even going to 30-40% of the job impacts will be there.
Right.
Anything which is repetitive, anything which can happen through a prompt, anything which is a machine learning will happen like that.
Right.
But over a generation, people have to learn that how I can benefit out of it, what are the things I can learn, how I can skill myself, and it will balance out somewhere. Overall, for an industry, it is a positive. In short and medium term, it will affect. Once the regulation gets sets in, once the do's and don'ts get set in, once it knows that what you can do legally and what you cannot do legally, I think next 5 years plus or minus, it should ultimately allow the industry to boom. It will grow the overall industry.
Right. But you see the historically in last 50 years, if you see the entire industry shift, you see the 1970s industry was, I mean, almost 20 years, शायद 20 साल पीछे थी हॉलीवुड के. आज का जो सिनेरियो है करीबन 10 से 20 साल पीछे है साउथ की इंडस्ट्री से. So what is your take on this? Because since you are in that, एक कैपिटलिस्टिक, हम एक कमर्शियल गेम जोन में ऑलरेडी हैं, तो इंडियन फिल्म्स जो हिंदी फिल्में हैं वो अब शायद साउथ की फिल्म्स जो हैं वो आज भी बड़े बिजनेसेस क्यों कर रही हैं rather than इंडियन फिल्म्स,
Right.
हिंदी फिल्म्स.
So I think one plus point, or one things which has been achieved and which I am also very happy about it, that longest period of time हम बेसिकली इंडियन फिल्म को बॉलीवुड बोलते थे, but it is Indian film
Indian
industry.
films, yeah.
So like I am equally proud of Hindi films, similarly I am proud of Tamil films or Telugu films, because they are all representing the country's ethos somewhere at the end of the day. And over last 5, 7, 10 years, we are seeing so many films coming from other part of the region and doing wonderful business, is actually an eye-opener. And the point where you are coming from, that today as Hindi film industry, are we behind the many other part of the industry or not? So you can't deny a fact that today if a RRR or a Pushpa or a KGF has done great business in their own languages, in their own states, but has also done great businesses in across North India in many other languages.
Correct.
So instead of, I'm completely talking of my individual point of view, I'm probably excited more of that scenario, because for me, if a story comes, if some great story, like last couple of years, some great stories are coming from Malayalam industry, right? And probably it is a challenge and it is a hunger that we have to do something better. That hunger should be there, and that challenge and competition should be there at the end of the day. Because ultimately all are adding up to Indian film industry, and outside India they're all talking as Indian, that this film is coming out of India, correct? Hindi industry ka, if you look at my own little bit of perspective, is that when you look at the 70s, 80s or 90s and etc., the storytelling also has gone through their ups and downs in the situation. And I won't say a down, but what has happened is that post 2000 onwards, the Hindi film industry by and large, we have seen the advent of the multiplexes. So when you have seen the advent of the multiplexes, and multiplexes by and large first started coming in the metros and the tier 1 cities of the world, you have seen a whole lot of urban centric stories. And urban centric, some good stories. I'm not necessarily saying urban centric stories. A lot of urban centric stories started coming out in the last 20-25 years, and people started curating content like हम लोग भी colloquially बोलते हैं ना, the multiplex film है. And then we see with another language the massive film hai. Now what is the multiplex film and what is the massive film?
Right.
And why not a massive film can work in multiplex and vice versa? So even the creators or the writers have started thinking stories that which will work in the top metros, big metros, and etc. of the situation. We probably at the same point of time, the by and large in the South market, if you look at it, they continued with the rooted stories. They continued with the stories which are rooted and which were like today, when you look at a lot of films and etc. which you talk about, whether it's Telugu or Tamil or etc. of the world, most of the films which you appreciate are very rooted, very local, very grounded stories, right? In the same space, and I'm giving the anecdotes which will probably correlate. Couple of years, about last 1.5 years back, when Gadar 2 came and did a 600 crore business, you started thinking, "Arey, I'm talking of the same emotion, same anger, same angst, and आपका हिंदी audience का 500-600 crore audience जाके वो film business करके आया, right?" So what is probably needed, and there are some stories which are breaking out and some stories are not. So I think whether businesses in South are happening good, which is a good thing to happen, what we need to do as a Hindi film industry, what we need to do, we need to probably curate more rooted stories.
Right.
We have we do a lot of films like in 90s and 2000s we have seen which are driven toward overseas market.
Right.
If you look at some banners like a Dharma film, wire a film, Shah Rukh's original days films, they're like catering to overseas market.
Right.
Switzerland, you are catering to the overseas market. क्यों? इंटरनेट नहीं था, पब्लिक ऑडियंस बाहर नहीं जाते थे, तो हमको दुनिया कैसे देखेंगे? फिल्म का थ्रू से हम लोग दुनिया देखते थे. अभी इंटरनेट आ गया, एवरीथिंग एंड पीपल आर ट्रैवलिंग, सो दैट पार्ट हैज गॉन. Next 20 years, we started making stories which caters to the urban. I'm not saying all stories, but a lot of makers started urban stories.
Correct.
We lost a little bit, or we have shifted away the Bachchan sir, Shatrughan Sinha's, Vinod Khanna's eras of, or even later like Anil Kapoor and initial phases, those rooted, macho, grounded, emotion. We started doing less number of stories like that. You know, take an example of Animal. That is a story which is, that emotion is rooted, right? So those stories then break out.
Right.
So probably going forward, we have to make more attention to the stories which are rooted and grounded, and those stories definitely will flourish across the country.
Correct. Well analyzed. इसी के लिए आप एनालिस्ट हैं और ये पूरा डेटा ड्रिवन मेरा इसके लिए आपसे क्वेश्चन था. अंत में शिवाशीष सरकार अगले रिलायंस, ऑब्वियसली आई मीन पर्सनल एजेंडा पे तो नहीं है, बट अभी आने वाले कौन कौन से प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जो बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो पर्दे पे आने वाले हैं अगले 2 से 3 सालों में?
So अभी like there are 2 films on the floor we are doing. I mean, people are aware we are doing a biopic of Mr. Rakesh Maria. Rohit Shetty is directing that film. Will be probably over in December. The shoot will be over. Imtiaz is shooting his film. He's shooting with Vedang, Sharwari, Nasir Saab, Daljit. That also will be over in December. Well, the shooting part will be over. We are starting Golmaal 5. Our immediate Rohit, after completing Rakesh Maria, will get into Golmaal 5 immediately. I think February onwards will start. Similarly, Imtiaz is also getting into floor with his next film by June. There is another film which this is basically a Korean film we have adapted. It's a Korean thriller, one of the best Korean thriller adapted, and we are doing it in Hindi. There are 3 films in around April will get in the floor. So there is a Korean film which we have adapted. There is a French film we have adapted, which Vikas will be directing. Vikas Behel will be directing. So yes, I think it's an ongoing journey. I mean, you will constantly look at till the time you're. I mean, at a stage of development, there will be many. But till the time your actors are attached and you know the exact shoot dates. So these are the 4-5 things which I can see that which are currently on the floor or getting into the floor. From a film perspective, from a show perspective, there is one show we just finished. We are in the floor right now, which we're doing with Amazon, with Ravi Kishan ji and a few talents are there. There is one show which is shot and done. The team of Gurmeet and Mrigdeep who did the Mirzapur, they did one show for us, which is also shot and completed. So it's an ongoing. Like we have finished the third show with which Imtiaz show ran for, that's the Netflix show. So it's ongoing. I mean, ongoing
आपके तो
process.
50 प्रोजेक्ट्स में से कोई ना कोई होगा, बट इट इज़ अ लवली टॉकिंग टू यू शिवाशीष सर. एंड यू नो आई जस्ट विश, बिकॉज द काइंड ऑफ यू नो एनालिटिकल आपका है और इंडस्ट्री की समझ जैसी आपकी है, मोर एंड मोर कॉर्पोरेट्स should understand about the creative side also, because you know this is the biggest dilemma we are living in right now as individual creators and filmmakers. So you know, just hope कि आपके जैसा thought process और आपके जैसा एनालिटिकल ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कॉर्पोरेट्स रखें, बिकॉज आज की डेट में, बिकॉज व्हाट वी फेस, इट्स अ मास कम्युनिकेशन you know era where you know these students and these media graduates don't even know our veterans. You know, that is the very unfortunate part. But मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि you know आपकी तरीके से और लोग भी होने चाहिए, so और ज़्यादा लोगों को थोड़ा boost मिलेगा as individuals.
No, I mean, for me, when I entered this industry from last 20 years, for me it's a very humbling experience, because हम रोज कुछ सीखते हैं, and probably that is the reason I continued in this business and in this company and this organization in this sector for 18-20 years, that you every day, like if I've now spent last 2-3 hours with you, I have learned a lot of things which I was not knowing in the evening, right? For me, that's a process. And not only for me, for majority of us. That's why probably that keeps you excited, that next day morning you again come and you find some new challenges or something which you have missed out yesterday you are doing now. That gives us a scope, because this industry gives us, this sector gives us this scope. So yeah, I think every individual should be open to that thought processes and learn.
बिल्कुल. लेकिन आपके जो डैड बोलते थे इनिशियल कॉन्वर्सेशन जब शुरू हुआ कि भाई एक नौकरी, लंबी नौकरी, वो तो आपने अभी तक करके दिखा दी है कि रिलायंस में it's been 18 years that you've been working, and wish you all the very best, sir. And thank you very much for coming in, Sutradhar. Thank you very much. Lovely. Pleasure meeting with you, sir. तो दोस्तों, कहानी के पीछे जो लोग होते हैं वो असली कहानीकार होते हैं. शिवाशीष सरकार जैसे प्रोड्यूसर्स ने साबित किया है कि सिनेमा सिर्फ स्क्रीन पर नहीं, हर सोच, हर रिस्क और हर ड्रीम में बसता है. सूत्रधार विद विनीत राय के इस एपिसोड में यहीं तक. अगर ये बातचीत आपको पसंद आई हो तो लाइक करें, शेयर करें और सब्सक्राइब करें, क्योंकि असली सिनेमा पर्दे के पीछे लिखा जाता है. धन्यवाद.